Product provided by Nintendo. Xenoblade Chronicles has since its initial release in Japan in 2010 grown to become one of the best JRPGs of the last 2 decades. In time for its 10th anniversary, the Definitive Edition restores the magic of the original, with higher resolutions, better textures, character models, a remastered soundtrack, and much more. And it shows! From the first moments on Gaur Plain, Shulk's interaction with other characters, and the many emotional moments that this quest holds. Naturally, the original story and character interactions are preserved with frame-by-frame accuracy, as the changes are mostly applied to the few areas of the game that didn't hold the same merits. In other words, with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, you get all the strengths of the original, plus the experience that Monolith Soft has obtained over the last decade. So let's get into this brutally honest review. But in case of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, there isn't much to be brutally honest about, unless you want to get into the argument whether the game is open world or open zoned, or if this game is a remaster or a remake.
First off, the story and main quest, which is fully intact and unaltered. In other words, it is just as great as it was when we first played the Wii version. All the emotional moments are preserved and just visually enhanced to fit the HD format of the Nintendo Switch. The long journey to find hope in a terrifying world full of attacks by a robotic mechon is the essence of Xenoblade, a conflict that Shulk gets embroiled in the most impactful way as a JRPG can provide. With his good friend Ryan, he sets out to bring the fight from the Titan of Bionis to Mechonis, to save his home and understand the roots of this lengthy conflict between the two titans. Shulk, unlike most other JRPG protagonists, isn't a mute and introverted figure, but rather a warm extrovert who longs for adventure. The sword he wields, the Monado, lets him see into the future, and the blade's sacred power is a crucial tool of the gameplay and storytelling found in Xenoblade. What truly makes the character shine though is the brilliant British voice actors. Their performances are near perfect, and truly hit out of the park when it comes to delivering emotions when it is expected in the game. No doubt, the English voice cast remains one of the absolute highlights of the game, and is one of the reasons why I in the story department prefer this game over nearly any other JRPG. Combined, the emotional storytelling and seamless English voice cast have aged like a good bottle of vintage wine, and it doesn't matter if you're meeting simple NPCs or hard-hitting foes, the vocal performances do not disappoint. A perfect example beside the main protagonist is his best buddy Ryan, who often steals the show with now iconic one-liners or memes.
Now it's Ryan time!
At the same time, Xenoblade Chronicles knows when to strike and, as we have already mentioned, has some of the most believable performances that are a joy to behold. Sharla's arc, which emphasizes the harsh realities of the Mechon War, creates some really intriguing moments early on. The story of Xenoblade Chronicles is timeless, but it provides also spades in the gameplay department. It consists of exploring a massive world, completing quests, and battling small and gigantic foes. Xenoblade Chronicles' open zone blueprint is classic to JRPG titles. A journey where you explore new open areas in which you can return to at any moment in the game. In other words, you can head off in any direction you like. The Neonite cycle found in the game incentivizes backtracking as quests, monsters and people all work around this clock system. All the side quests reward you with thrilling fights and useful items, which makes every detour from the main quest worth your time. In fact, most of my time with the game was spent playing through side quests. These range from defeating monsters, collecting specific materials, or interacting with non-player characters. Just so you know, my personal experience with Xenoblade side quest wasn't the most pleasant in the Nintendo Wii version. They required a lot of effort, as information wasn't well presented. In addition, you were left to your own devices in terms of finding locations that you needed to visit.
The Definitive Edition fixes this issue completely and elevates the quest system to the standard found in Xenoblade Chronicles X and 2. You can select a specific quest from the list of available quests, set it as active, and follow instructions to where you need to go. If the item or person is unavailable, the menu will let you know that, ensuring that you don't waste any time in your journey. Let me point this out. If this improvement wasn't in place in the Definitive Edition, then this would be a big backdraw from the game. But instead it is a big win with the quest log just 2 button clicks away. The battle system is to some degree simple to learn, but hard to master, just like it should be. The player moves around the enemy and your character automatically attacks throughout the process. Urgency comes not only from placing your character right, to unleash powerful chain attacks and topples that will bring down enemies at the exact right moment. Each character available will gradually get access to a variety of offensive and defensive battle arts that will change the way you play. Everything comes down to how you want to approach battles, though finding a balance in the arts is crucial. Shulk's Monado attacks are critical in most situations, while Sharla can heal anybody in an instant with her rifle. These two are likely the characters that you will get the most usage out of in general. As you probably have guessed by now, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition differs from the original version by its overall refinements. Want an example? No problem. Take the structure of the menus in the Wii and new 3DS versions for instance, which were less than desirable to work with. The new main menu in the Definitive Edition brings everything together in an accessible place, where details and options are better presented than ever. The player can quickly swap gear, see the effects of gems and armor, and make that snap decision to keep trucking. The upgraded affinity chart gives you more information on the location, as well as what items NPCs are currently offering to trade. In addition, you can track individuals, allowing you to find them much easier for the crucial matters at hand.
The battle screens reaffirm the changes that the developers made. Critical information, like the health of your allies, has been made smaller. This ensures that it will take less up of the screen, allowing you to see the battlefield with less overall clutter. Just like the other Xenoblade games, the enemy information is now at the top of the screen. While there are smaller status bars and icons for everybody within the battle radius, they overlap less and are much easier to read in the heat of the moment. I lost battles in the original due to placement of the battle HUD, and those occurrences have been severely limited in this definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles. The game's fast travel is snappier as well, allowing you to move back and forth quickly. I find myself using this feature a whole lot more, as it helped me to check off those quests one by one without waiting longer than necessary to fast travel from province to province. I find myself using the feature a whole lot more, as it helped me to check off those quests one by one without waiting longer than necessary to travel from province to province. Finally, you can change your difficulty at any time to adjust your experience with the casual and expert options being offered. Now, you will still have to battle skillfully no matter the difficulty, but it will lessen or boost the grind you might be accustomed to. On top of the original masterpiece of a journey, there's an epilogue called Future Connected. This 12-hour adventure sees Shulk and Melia hop on the long-lost Beyonce's shoulder, which was cut from the original Xenoblade Chronicles, to find out what happened with Melia's homeworld Alchemoth. The story basically continues Melia's arc, though Shulk does get some thoughts in. Sadly, there isn't as much story content as I would have liked, but it builds on the parts you expect. The scenes found in the main questline, as well as special quiet moments, are completely voiced and bring back the original cast. In addition, the new Nopon characters Kino and Nene add charm to this world and are an absolute joy. The adventure is brisk and compact, but made with those who love the original in mind. The Beyonce's shoulder isn't a massive landmass, but there are many unique attributes that make exploring every nook and cranny fun. For what I like about Future Connected is that you can play it right from the get-go. A perfect love letter to any who already played Xenoblade Chronicles and doesn't have the time to go to the full adventure again. Mechanically, it's mostly the same as the main game, but there is one crucial difference: the Pawn Spectres. These special non-pawn surveyors come in 3 varieties: red offensive, blue healing, and yellow debuffing. By completing quests, they will join your cause and join up in a gigantic conga line behind you. When you get them in a high tension state, they will keep fighting without any breaks in between. When you get members of each team together, you unlock what replaces the chain attacks in Future Connected. For some, the biggest selling point might be that this version comes with both the original and a newly arranged soundtrack. And the differences are as clear as day. The instrumentation has been clearly produced from the ground up, with songs being only the same in theming alone. Classics like Colony 9 and Frontier Village really shine brightly with this new musical underlining. When it comes to the overall presentation of Xenoblade Chronicles, I consider it to be in the realm of okay to fine. The locales don't look half bad, but don't expect a major overhaul. Locations like Saturn March and RFC look certainly nicer in HD, particularly at night, but the ground textures have only been updated slightly. You can see similar results when you look at the water, grass or other graphical elements. On the other end of the spectrum, the character models are fantastic in every sense of the word and do contrast to the ground textures more than in the original. They are much more in line with the rest of the series, and emotion is much more palpable in this traditional Japanese art style. The interactions feel more alive in cutscenes, making for a more dynamic journey.
Some may have expected more in the graphics department, but we are pretty much at the limit of what the base model Nintendo Switch can achieve for big detailed open zone games like this. We have seen this before in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and we will see it again as the current hardware simply doesn't allow for more than this. Hence, on one side you can say that this is a negative, but it isn't the fault of the game itself, because compared to other similar Switch titles, this is more than satisfactory. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is through and through a win for Monolith Soft, who have more than succeeded in updating this timeless classic 10 years after its first release in Japan. Nearly every alteration in its presentation is an upgrade from the original product through and through. Overall, this new adventure in the world of Bionis and Mechonis was much more enjoyable than any prior version. Yes, some things may not be exactly perfect, but then again, this is a 10-year-old game. Not everything can be upgraded to the standards we're accustomed to today, right before the dawn of a new generation of consoles. No matter which side you stand on, you cannot deny that this is one of the Nintendo Switch games that offer you the most value for your money. Nothing more needs to be said. Play the definitive edition of this game, you will not regret it. Also, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the Commonwealth Realm, this channel, to not miss that review of the Nintendo Switch and Zelda videos. A big thanks to Nintendaan for reviewing the game together with me, so be sure to show his channel some love in the end card or in the pinned comment below. Then I guess that the only thing left to say is if you are still hungry for more, then go and check out one of these two awesome videos.